The African mask that possesses anyone who wears it. The package arrived yesterday. A wooden mask from Burkina Faso, a gift from my brother studying ancient tribal cultures. His note was clear. Whatever you do, don't put this on. Just for display. I laughed when I read it. Last night, curiosity won. Okay, just for a second, I thought. What harm could it do? The moment it touched my face, I felt that something cold slithering into my mind. Something ancient? Something hungry? I'm recording this as evidence. I don't think I'll be me much longer. There's someone else in here now. They always try to fight me at first. They never win. I'm Mia Williams, history professor at Lagos University, specializing in West African artifacts. My brother Kofi is an anthropology student doing fieldwork across the continent. When he called last month, his voice was strange, tight with excitement or fear. Nia, I found something incredible, he said. A mask from the Mosi tribe. They say it belonged to a witch doctor named Bakari who lived 300 years ago. Another mask for your collection, I teased. This one's different, he replied, voice dropping. The village elders keep it locked away, surrounded by protective charms. They say it's cursed. My brother had always loved the dramatic side of anthropology, the curses, the magic. I told him he was being superstitious. 2 weeks later, a package arrived. Inside was a stunning wooden mask, intricate carvings spiraling around hollowed eyes, symbols etched into the forehead, teeth carved so realistically they seemed ready to bite. With it was a hurried note. I had to take it. They were going to destroy it. Study it, but never wear it. I'll explain when I return. That was 3 weeks ago. Kofi never came home. The university received word that he had gone missing in the jungle. I should have locked the mask away. Instead, I began researching it. I found references to Bakari, a healer turned dark sorcerer, who discovered a way to cheat death by binding his soul to his mask. According to legend, anyone who wore it allowed Bakari's spirit to enter them. He would possess them completely, using their body until it wore out, then find another host. Ridiculous superstition, I thought. Until last night. It was after midnight. I'd been translating an old text about Bakari's magic. The mask sat on my desk, hollow eyes following my movements. After hours of reading about its power, I wondered what if... This is absurd, I said, reaching for the mask. It's just wood. The moment it touched my face, I knew I'd made a terrible mistake. It shouldn't have fit so perfectly. It shouldn't have felt warm against my skin, like something alive. And I definitely shouldn't have heard the voice deep. Amused, speaking in a language I didn't know but somehow understood. At last, it said within my mind, a new vessel. I tried to pull the mask off, but my hands wouldn't obey. My fingers, controlled by something else, stroked the wooden surface lovingly. So many years, the voice continued. Through you, I can reach so many more with tremendous effort. I tore it from my face. It clattered to the floor, and I gasped for breath, feeling as though I'd been underwater. When I finally slept, the dreams began. I saw through others' eyes. Dozens of people across centuries, each putting on the mask, each feeling Bakari enter them. I witnessed what he did with their bodies, rituals, sacrifices, the slow consumption of their souls. I woke drenched in sweat, certain he was still lingering in my mind, watching, waiting. Throughout the day, small things happened. I would reach for my coffee and knock it over, my hand moving strangely. I would catch myself staring at my reflection, head tilted at an unfamiliar angle. Once, I found myself standing before the trunk where I'd locked the mask, with no memory of how I got there. He was still inside me, a seed planted during those brief moments of contact, and he was growing stronger. I called in sick and began researching obsessively. I found colonial records reports of mass hysteria in villages where someone had worn a cursed mask, followed by violent deaths. By nightfall, the symptoms were worsening. I would lose time 5 minutes, 20, once almost an hour coming back to consciousness in different rooms, sometimes with a knife in my hand. Twice, I caught myself trying to open the trunk containing the mask. The voice was getting louder too. "You cannot fight me forever," it said as I stared at my reflection, noticing how my eyes seemed darker, my smile different. "No one ever has." I called Dr. Adebayo, my colleague who specialized in traditional spirituality. To my surprise, he didn't think I was crazy. "There are forces Western science doesn't acknowledge," he said. "If what you're describing is real, you're in grave danger." Bakari practiced the darkest magic, sacrifice magic. "How do I stop it?" I asked desperately. "You need to find the keeper of Chainsey and Mosey tradition. Every cursed object has a counterpart, someone with the knowledge to bind the spirit. Usually a descendant of whoever created the binding originally. How do I find this person?" "I'll make some calls. In the meantime, salt and iron, they're protective. Surround the mask with them. And Nia," he paused, "don't be alone." But I was already alone with him. That night, I surrounded the trunk with salt and placed iron nails across its lid. I fought sleep as long as I could, knowing he was strongest in dreams. In my dream, I stood in a village clearing. Before me was a man wearing elaborate headdress and ritual paint Bakari in his original form. He smiled, revealing filed teeth. "You are strong," he said, circling me. "Most are broken by now, but you fight?" "I won't let you have my body," I said. He laughed. "You speak as if you have a choice. I have worn hundreds of skins over the centuries." "Why?" I asked. "Why not pass peacefully to whatever comes after death? I saw what comes after. There is only punishment for one such as me. So I made another path." He touched my forehead. Pain shot through me, and I saw flashes of his memories. A drought, a desperate village, a deal with something dark and hungry. Power at a terrible price. I woke with a gasp. The trunk was open, the salt scattered. The mask was in my hands. No. I tried to shout, but my mouth wouldn't move. With enormous effort, I managed to drop the mask. It clattered to the floor, and I stumbled back. He was getting stronger. I grabbed a hammer to destroy the mask. My arm stopped before striking it, locked in place by a force I couldn't fight. My own voice laughed, but the sound wasn't mine. "You cannot destroy what has been bound by blood magic," Bakari said through my mouth. I fled my apartment and called Dr. Adebayo. "I can't fight him much longer," I said, my voice breaking. "There's a woman in the old quarter, Mama. Her family traces back to the Mosi tribe. She might know about the Keeper of Chains." It was my only hope. Mama Kamara's home was tucked between newer buildings. She answered her door as if expecting me. "You carry a shadow," she said, pulling me inside. "Bakari," I managed to say the mask. She hissed, making a warning sign. "That evil still exists. We thought it buried and gone." She explained that the Keeper of Chains was the last living descendant of the woman who had originally bound Bakari, his own daughter, who had seen the monster her father became and used his magic against him. "The Keeper is young, untrained. She doesn't know what she is," Mama Kamara said. "Her name is Aya. She works at Central Hospital as a nurse." But she gripped my hand. "Hurry! By dawn, you may not be yourself anymore. At the hospital, I found Aya Isley, perhaps. But Carrie's only gift to me was the ability to sense their connection. She was young, with kind eyes and purposeful hands. When I approached her, something flickered across her face recognition, though we'd never met. "You?" she said softly. "I've dreamed about you." Before I could explain, Bakari surged within me. My hand shot out, gripping her throat. "Blood of my blood," my voice snarled. You will not trap me again. With tremendous effort, I released her. I'm sorry. He's inside me. Cutter. The mask, Bakari's mask. I need your help. The dreams were real, she whispered. My grandmother told stories. She agreed to help. When we returned to my apartment, the mask sat on my coffee table, as if waiting. Aya approached it cautiously. When she was within a meter, she gasped. I can feel him. So much hatred. So much hunger. Then her expression changed, hardened. She began to speak in an ancient tongue. Her movements became precise, practiced, as if she'd performed this ritual 100 times. We need 3 things, she said, her voice deeper somehow. Blood of his blood, that's me. Soil from his homeland, we don't have that. And a sacrifice. What kind of sacrifice? Something precious to you? He used sacrifice magic to bind himself to the mask. Only sacrifice can bind him again. Not a possession, a sacrifice of self. A piece of your life. I understood then. Bakari had sacrificed his humanity for power. Could counter it. I needed to sacrifice something equally valuable. My work, I said. My research. My knowledge of our history. My life's passion. Aya nodded. That will work. We worked quickly, Bakari fighting me every step. Aya pricked her finger, letting 7 drops of blood fall onto the mask. She asked me to write down everything I knew about African tribal history, my life's work. When we begin, she explained, he will fight harder than ever. Don't listen to anything he says. She began chanting, placing her bleeding hand on the mask and her other hand on my forehead. Bakari erupted within me. My body convulsed, and I screamed in that ancient language. Images flooded my mind, Bakari's memories of countless lives, countless victims. Stop her, he commanded. She is stealing what's yours as well as mine. Your work, your memories, everything that makes you who you are. He was right. I could feel my knowledge of African history beginning to fade, being drawn out of me. Years of study, connections to my heritado, disappearing. That's right, Bakari whispered. Why sacrifice what you love? We could share this body. Think of what I could teach. Your secrets lost to time. His offer was tempting. But then I remembered Kofi, who had vanished after finding the mask. I thought of the hundreds of lives Bakari had stolen. Take it, I told Aya. Take whatever you need. The paper with my knowledge burst into flames, burning with unnatural purple fire. The mask began to glow, its carved eyes filling with malevolent life. Bakari screamed through my mouth, a sound of pure rage. I felt him being torn from my mind, pulled toward the mask. He fought, clinging to fragments of my consciousness, ripping away memories. The pain was excruciating, not physical, but the agony of feeling pieces of myself being with a final, terrible, wrenching sensation. Bakari was gone. The mask flared with blinding light, then went dark. I collapsed, feeling hollow still myself, but with vast empty spaces where knowledge had been. My academic knowledge, my life's work, was simply gone. We sealed the mask in a box lined with iron and protective symbols. Aya, now awakened to her heritage as the keeper of chains, performed additional rituals. 2 months later, we found Kofi in a remote clinic, alive but unresponsive. The doctors called it catatonia, but we knew better. Bakari had worn him like a garment, then discarded him. I visit Kofi weekly, talking about our childhood. Sometimes recognition flickers in his eyes, but never lasts. The mask remains sealed in a vault beneath Mama Kamara's home. Aya visits monthly, renewing the bindings. As for me, I've started working with Aya, documenting protective magics our ancestors used. It's a different kind of scholarship than what I lost. Sometimes at night, I dream of Bakari still raging inside his wooden prison. He shows me the lives he's lived, The knowledge he's gone tempting me. But I know the truth now. Some knowledge comes at too high a price. If you're watching this, consider it a warning. The world is full of objects like Bakaris, mosquitoes, that hold more than cultural significance. Things that contain powers. Entities that hunger for what we take for granted. Life, freedom, identity. They wait in museums, private collections, forgotten attics. Beautiful, tempting, calling to something in us that yearns for the mysterious. So if you find something strange, something that calls to you in ways you can't explain, an African mask, an ancient doll, a mirror that shows more than reflections, think of this story. And somewhere in Africa, sealed away but not destroyed, Bakari still waits. Patient, eternal, hungry. Sometimes, I wonder if I truly won. If perhaps some seed of him remains dormant within me. Because sometimes, just sometimes, I catch myself staring at my reflection a bit too long. Smiling in ways I never used to smile. And the hunger, the desire to feel that power again, never fully fades away.